Hi, it's Jason Blake. I'm the Medicare Geek. I have been threatening to do a video for a while on how to sell Humana more. I'm what's called an ambassador agent with Humana. Before that, I was what's called an elite agent um, for about the past decade. That puts me um, like top 125 agents nationwide. Part of that's about our market dynamic here. It's not that I'm so great, but there are better ways to sell Humana and not. So I figured I would run through this for an agents who don't feel like their closing ratios are great or they want to get a little more skilled at it. So I would only get to this point after doing a careful needs analysis. I might have done the two ways to get Medicare to show the person how to, if they want an Advantage plan or a supplement, I might make a recommendation based on their providers and stuff like that. But all things being equal, um, I would go here. In our market, we have a few different products. We have a zero premium PPO. We have a zero premium HMO. There's not a lot of difference in those. And then we have a couple premium PPOs, which are good in certain circumstances. But for the mass market, it's very often the zero PPO where I end up. And so here's how I'd go through it. I'd say, okay, part of my job is to be cheap on your behalf. Humana has a zero premium PPO. That means that as long as you have Medicare A and B, which you do or you soon will, uh, it wouldn't cost you anything additional. So let's go over it. It's Humana Choice, and this is the plan number H5216233. That's how Medicare identifies the plan. These plans are reviewed and approved annually, so you want to check the changes that are happening every year, and if they're ever going to cancel a plan, you'll get notice of that too. I move past some of the light stuff, get right to the summary of benefits. Here's the zero premium we talked about. There's no medical deductible with this plan. Well, that's great because if you only had Medicare A and B, your Part A deductible would be about $1,400. Your Part B deductible would be 200 and change. Then for Part B, you'd have that famous 80-20 split. So just by adding this plan that costs you nothing additional, you're removing your deductibles and you're getting Part D drug coverage, which would, if you bought it on its own, would have a monthly premium associated with it. Those things are great. That is no medical deductible. That means you get help from the first dollar. You just have known copays on certain services. There's a pharmacy deductible. It's $100, but only on tier 4 and 5. If you look, most of the plans out there will have a deductible on all the tiers or tier 2 and higher, tier 3 and higher. Humana is rare in this market for having a deductible only on the higher tiers. So that can be great if somebody's on like a Xarelto or, tier 3 med. They're not going to have that big deductible at the beginning of the year. There is a max amount of pocket on this plan. It's in network $5,900. In and out of network, it's $8,950. In my market, I can pretty confidently say most of the providers you're going to be going to are going to be in network. So it's usually that top figure that you're going to be talking about. I remind people this isn't like a deductible you have to pay first. This isn't a limit on the amount of coverage. It's if your copays in a given year hit that $5,900, you would pay nothing and the plan would then pay 100%. But then I say, let me show you how difficult it is actually to get there. Let's look at hospital. If you were in the hospital overnight, you'd pay an all-inclusive rate of $360 per night. So if they give you a new leg in the hospital, I always say it's like a Mexican resort. Everything's included. And Humana is the one company that I've seen that does call that an all-inclusive amount. Everybody else hedges a little bit about it. So they give you a new leg and surgery, the blood work, the drugs, the anesthesia, everything that happens in that 24 hours is going to cost you $360. If they if you go to 4 days, they're going to stop charging you after that. So if you spend a month in the hospital on this plan, the most you're going to pay is 360 times 4. That's $1,440. So when you look at that, how many of those days would you have to have in a given year to get close to this $5,900? It's pretty hard to get there. I'll point out a couple of ways that can get you there faster as we go through the plan. I can also pivot here just a little bit. Our hospital system is called Hawaii Pacific Health. They have an incredible financial assistance program that doesn't look at assets. It only looks at people's income, and they can earn up to 400% of the federal poverty level. For a couple in Hawaii, that's about $85,000. A lot of retired couples do not make $85,000. It's over $60,000 for a single person. So I say too, hey, the bigger bills you're going to have on this plan usually are going to come from our hospital system, Hawaii Pacific Health, for hospital stays, for day surgeries, for MRIs. If you get those bills on their letterhead, call me and we'll see if you qualify for that program. That does a couple things. It's helping people with a community program that I know about. It's also taking a little bit of the heat off the plan in this moment. It's hey, your bigger bills on this plan, I have a solution for potentially. And usually earlier in the process, I would have done some income screening and stuff, not because I want to be in their business, not because I'm underwriting them, because I want to help them get everything that they qualify for. Day surgery on this plan, $300 copay if you stay in network. I'm going to encourage people to stay in network. It's really easy where I live because everybody but Kaiser basically is in network on this plan. We don't even have an outpatient ambulatory surgical center on this island, so I tell them usually they can disregard that. They're going to be looking at the hospital copay. Primary care visits are zero, specialists are 40. If they go in network for preventative care, all of this whole list of Medicare covered services are no copay. Things like preventative mammogram, preventative colonoscopy, flu shot, cardiovascular screening. And this year, Medicare added the shingles vaccine, which previously would have been a couple $100 a shot unless they had extra help. So point that out in case they need to get it. As long as they go in network, those things are all no copay. Emergency room is capped at $90. That's not a limit on how much Humana will pay. That's your copay. So if you think you're having a heart attack, get to the emergency room. You're not going to go bankrupt on this plan. Urgent care, $40. Not a big deal. If you got a cold, if you cut yourself, go to urgent care. You're not going to go broke. Diagnostic things are going to go on a scale. Cheapest thing will be blood work at an in-network lab. Most expensive thing probably be like an MRI, a couple $100 at a hospital. I will tell people part of my job is to be cheap on your behalf. If you got a choice of getting your blood work done at an out of the hospital clinic that's in network or at the hospital, always choose the out of the hospital in network clinic, because the billing codes can vary with the hospital and create a higher copay that your member may not want to pay. Pretty rare to have a Medicare covered hearing event. If you do, that's the copay. Humana does throw in an incredible hearing benefit with the free hearing exam. It's got great technology that they can offer to them. Where I live, it's a little bit wonky to access this benefit. So I tell people, hey, if you think you want a hearing test, you want to consider hearing aids, call me. I'll help you navigate the true hearing process. Another cool thing, some preventative dental is built in this year on this plan, in or out of network. So what that means, if you go to an in-network dentist, they're going to bill it and you won't have to pay up front. Out-of-network dentist, it's up to them if they make you pay first and submit it for reimbursement, or if they will bill Humana. That's really on the dentist at that point. But without paying any extra, this person's ending up with 2 cleanings, an exam, x-rays, and even a couple fillings with just a $25 copay. I'll often skip ahead. Hey, if you end up with anything major you got to do dental wise, call me. Any month we want to, we can add this dental 432. It's $51.60 a month. It kicks in the first day of the next month. So if you find out in March you got to have a root canal, you're going to have to delay it until at least April 1st. But we can add this on. It'll pay the first 100% on covered services up to $2,000. That's a negotiated rate, so it works better at an in-network dentist, but that's a game changer for crowns, for root canals. They can call you mid-year, they can add it on, they can get the work done. If they want to, they can even cancel the rider after doing it. That is a real game changer for Humana this year, particularly in our market. Back to the plan. We were at dental. Almost there, sorry. People wonder about vision with Medicare. Most diseases of the eye, they're covered under the medical. Things like cataracts, glaucoma, macular degeneration. Those are all diseases of the eye, so they're covered under the medical side. When you talk about vision with Medicare, you're really just talking about the refraction portion of an exam, the which is better, 1 or 2, A or B, or you're talking about like a contact lens fitting. So in addition to the regular medical care, Humana is one of the companies, they throw in an extra $75 to cover that non-medical portion of the exam, and they throw in an extra $100 this year on this plan for eyewear or for glasses. Inpatient mental health care, very similar to the cost for inpatient regular health care, a little bit fewer days, 3 instead of 4. Therapy is going to cost you between $30 and $40 a visit, depending on how you go. You probably, occasionally Humana has what's called a mandatory supplemental benefit called MD Live, which is online live counseling and therapy. So if you're open to that type, before you go paying $30, $40 a visit, you should check in with me and see if that's available this year in the market or not. Skilled nursing, this is one of those places where costs can add up. First 20 days in skilled nursing is no copay. Usually, maybe you have a knee replacement. They want you to stay in the hospital for a week or two to get some therapy. Days 20 through 100 are more expensive. Very rare for someone to be in skilled nursing this long and not be a long-term care event. Remember, for Medicare to cover this, it has to be considered, has to be non-custodial, um, non-chronic, and there has to be a plan of care that will show improvement. If it can't do those three things, then it's no longer a Medicare covered skilled nursing event. It's what's called long-term care, and that's going to be paid through private pay. It's going to be paid through long-term care insurance if they have it. It's going to be paid through Medicaid if they're low income, low asset. So this may be a time too that you plant a seed and maybe talk with the right clients about long-term care insurance post enrollment. Physical therapy, another area that can add up a little bit. $40 copay on this plan. If you get 10 visits a year, not such a big deal. Still cheaper than a $150 a month plan G premium. But if you're someone who uses physical therapy more like personal training and you go on every week or two, that might be one of those tipping point areas where you want to go to a supplement. Ambulance, $250 copay. We're on a little bitty island, and so a lot of people get medevac to the big island, Oahu, for things like heart surgeries or trauma. Air ambulance is 20%. People can freak out when they see that because you hear these stories of it was $25,000. Well, I always tell them it's 20% of the Medicare allowable amount, usually about $1,200-1,300. Their copay ends up being $200 to $300. So not going to go bankrupt from an air ambulance trip on this plan. Chemotherapy and Part B drugs, 20%. Most of those are quite affordable. Certain osteoporosis drugs can be more expensive. Certain newer cancer infusions, especially the ones that extend life by a month, can be more expensive. The boilerplate stuff, not too bad. Again, the people in our market have the protection of maybe the hospital system financial aid. Or if it is end of life care extending you by a month, you're probably not too worried about what the bill is and if you hit your MOOP for that year. Go to drugs. Sometimes I do this portion right out of the gate when we talk about deductibles and everything. I take their specific drugs and what pharmacies they go to. If they're tier 1 or tier 2, I show them how they can get them at no cost. If they're different, I show them what the costs are going to be. Maybe if they want to try mail order, Humana has a great mail order pharmacy called Centerwell. Used to be called Humana Pharmacy. They have the highest rating for customer service by J.D. Power and Associates of all the mail order pharmacies in the U.S. So that's kind of a cool thing. But if they want to go to their local pharmacy, it's not going to be any more expensive on this either. If they have any weird drugs that either they're not formulary or they're expensive, we're going to create a game plan at this point for post-enrollment, whether it's GoodRx, whether it's a formulary exception, whether it's maybe they want to try about ordering it from Canada. These are all tools in a good agent's basket. I explain to them when they hit the donut hole. If they do hit the donut hole, please call me because there may be fixes outside of your drug coverage that would help reduce your costs during that time. Chiropractic care is covered. It's a $20 copay. Podiatry is covered. I always say chiropractic, it's for adjustments of the spine. It's not for, my chiropractor does massage, so that's going to be covered too. This plan does not cover massage. DME, medical equipment, wheelchairs, walkers, hospital beds, 20% copay. If they have something like that on the horizon, I'll explain how that usually works with the DME companies. Other therapies, between 20 and $40, a lot like physical therapy. These other costs we've talked about already. Some extra perks with Humana. Travel coverage. Humana has a very cool nationwide network, PPO. If the person goes to an in-network doctor, it's this low cost. If they're anywhere else in the U.S., first of all, if it's an emergency or an urgent care, just go to the closest facility. There are no networks with that. Just get there, get the care. You'll have the same low copay. If it is routine care, you want to see a dermatologist while you travel, you want a second opinion, either hop on the Humana website, call me, call customer service. Let's find you somebody in network where you want to go. And we will get you to them so that you have the same low copay you would have at home. Also, if you're thinking you're going to need continued care at an out-of-network facility with Humana, then get in touch with me around that time too, because there are things we can do. There are plan changes. We can maybe get you a Medicare supplement. Don't leave your people hanging where if they start to hit higher costs, they don't have an option to reach for you. Acupuncture, if they use a network acupuncturist, they get 25 visits a year, just $10 each. We talked about podiatry. If they're in a hospital, they're going to get some meals mailed to them so they don't have to cook when they get home. If they're using the mail order pharmacy, they can order some free over-the-counter items. Silver Sneakers translates as free gym membership. In this place, it's 2 gyms on my island called Quiet Athletic Club. If you want to go there, as soon as your Humana card comes, show them. They'll help you get signed up. They only get paid if you go at the gym. So if you want to use that benefit, make sure you go so the gym gets paid for the membership. Very cool thing. Humana has a reward and incentive program called Go 365. Not a reason to join the plan, but if you do join the plan and you take care of your preventative stuff, you get your flu shots, you get your mammograms, you go to the gym, you want to report all that stuff at the end of the year, you can call in and get gift cards for places like Amazon or Target mailed to you for staying on top of your preventative services. That's kind of the basics. I usually do what I call an anti-close. I say, so there's no hurry. Let's say they're a May agent. Um, you know, you anytime between today and April 30th, if you call me, we can enroll you in this plan. It'll go active May 1st. Oftentimes they'll say, well, can we go ahead and sign up now? And I'll say, sure, but you don't have to. There's no hurry. I do that so people don't feel pressure. Nobody wants to be closed by a stupid salesperson. The irony of this is by not closing them in that moment, by giving them the choice, 95% of people will close themselves and say, let's go ahead and get this done. And I'll say, are you sure? And they say, yes. I go, okay. I open up eHub, I take their enrollment, and I say, hey, if you have any second thoughts, doubts, questions, give me a call. There's still plenty of time. You want them to feel cared for the whole time. The other thing I do when I'm selling Humana at the very end of the enrollment, after I've filled out the kit, giving them the stuff, told them about their cards coming, told them to call me if they get a letter about a late enrollment penalty, any of the other things that can come up, I say, listen, and Humana's probably not going to like this, but I'm still protecting my business at the end of the day and my people. I say, please call me before you call Humana customer service. If a year from now you call me and tell me how you spent an hour on the phone with customer service and get transferred around and maybe you got some questionable information or got accidentally disconnected, I will remind you of this moment when I said, please call me or email me or text, whatever you need to do. Humana's got a lot of incredible value in this plan, but they're a big company. What happens with customer service at any big company in America? It's hit or miss. You sometimes have a long wait time. You sometimes get the wrong person. I want to be that person for my people with Humana. I think they're probably only, of the major carriers, I think probably only WellCare has worse or less consistent customer service. But at the end of the day, if you're a Medicare geek, your job is to take care of these people. It's not to make a sale and walk away and wash your hands of it. It's to make sure they have the best experience they can in our terribly disjointed healthcare system. And it's also to work for your renewals. You know, every agent wants those renewals to come in year after year after year. Well, taking care of some of these things, helping with this stuff, writing appeal letters, sending service inquiries, checking with market leadership, helping them on their drug costs. These are the ways you keep the business going, you keep the referrals you get, and the people know ultimately you have their back, not the back of the insurance company first and foremost, and they will send you and that insurance company tons more business after that. If you want any more personal pointers, feel free to get in touch. Otherwise, I hope this helps at least one person sell a little bit more Humana. Have a great day.